On a warm December morning in 1948, a body was discovered on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. What seemed like a routine case quickly spiraled into one of history's most perplexing mysteries. A well-dressed man with no identification, removed labels from his clothing, unidentifiable dental records, and fingerprints not on file anywhere in the world. Join us as we unravel the enigma of the Somerton Man, a mystery that has confounded investigators for over 70 years, blending elements of Cold War espionage, cryptic codes, and cutting-edge forensic science in a case that continues to captivate the world. It was December 1, 1948, at 6:30 in the morning when the body was found on Somerton Beach near Adelaide, South Australia. The man was discovered in an unusual position, lying back against the seawall with his legs extended. An unlit cigarette rested on his collar, as if placed there moments before death. He appeared to be in his early 40s and remarkably fit. What immediately struck investigators was his attire. He was impeccably dressed in a suit and tie with meticulously polished shoes. This wasn't the typical beachwear one would expect, but rather the outfit of someone attending a formal event. Despite the public location and the man's distinctive appearance, not a single witness reported seeing him alive, and no one came forward to identify him. Police photographs from the scene show a man who maintained a certain dignity even in death. His double-breasted jacket neatly buttoned, his tie perfectly knotted, creating a stark contrast to the mysterious circumstances surrounding his demise. What began as a sad but seemingly straightforward case of an unidentified deceased person quickly evolved into something far more complex. Investigators were immediately confronted with unusual circumstances. The man carried absolutely no identification, which was strange enough, but even more puzzling was the discovery that all labels had been methodically removed from his clothing. This deliberate anonymity raised immediate suspicions. The autopsy revealed his last meal had been a pasty. But despite thorough examination, medical examiners could not conclusively determine a cause of death. Poison was suspected, but no definitive evidence could be found. The timing added another layer to the mystery. The previous evening had been unusually warm for the season, and several witnesses later came forward with reports of seeing a man resembling the deceased in the exact same location where the body was found. However, these accounts varied significantly. Some claimed he appeared to be sleeping, others thought he was intoxicated, and some reported he was moving in a strange manner. In one particularly intriguing statement, a couple claimed they had observed a man carrying another man on his shoulders along the beach around midnight. Like many leads in this case, this potential breakthrough led investigators nowhere conclusive. The man's dental records matched no known person in Australia, and his fingerprints were not on file in any database worldwide. It was as if he had appeared from nowhere, with no past and no identity. Months after the discovery, investigators made a breakthrough that would transform the case from merely unusual to truly extraordinary. A hidden pocket was found sewn inside the man's trousers. This concealed compartment contained a small scrap of paper, carefully torn from a book. Printed on this fragment were the words, Tamám Shud, Persian for ended or finished. This cryptic message immediately deepened the mystery. After extensive research, authorities determined the paper had been torn from a rare New Zealand edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of Persian poems that meditates on life, death, and the ephemeral nature of existence. The phrase, Tamám Shud, appears at the end of the book, signifying completion. Was this a message indicating a mission had been completed? A poetic suicide note? Or perhaps something more sinister? A killer's signature? In a twist that seemed almost too coincidental to be true, the specific copy of the book from which the paper was torn was later discovered in an unlocked car parked near Somerton Beach. The odds of finding this exact book seemed astronomical. Yet somehow it had appeared, almost as if someone wanted it to be found. The book itself contained another layer of mystery. In the back pages was a series of seemingly random letters that appeared to be a code. WRGOABABDMLIABOAQCITTMTSAMSTGAB. Despite decades of attempts by military and intelligence codebreakers, this sequence has never been deciphered, standing as one of cryptography's most enduring puzzles. The discovered copy of the Rubaiyat contained not only the cryptic code but also a telephone number. This number belonged to a nurse named Jessica Thomson, née Harkness, who lived near Somerton Beach. When questioned by authorities, Thomson denied knowing the man, maintaining she had never seen him before. However, witnesses present during her viewing of the body reported that she appeared deeply troubled, as if she recognized him but was unwilling to acknowledge it. Her reaction was so pronounced that some investigators became convinced she was hiding crucial information. Adding another layer to this connection, researchers later discovered that Thomson had previously worked in intelligence during World War II and may have had ties to communist organizations. Throughout her life, she steadfastly refused to elaborate on these connections or discuss the Somerton Man case in detail, taking whatever knowledge she had to her grave. The relationship between Thomson and the Somerton Man remains one of the case's most tantalizing aspects. Was she merely a random person whose number happened to be in the book? Or was there a deeper connection? Perhaps romantic, perhaps professional, or perhaps related to espionage? Her consistent denial of knowledge, contrasted with her apparent emotional reaction, has led many researchers to believe she held the key to solving the entire mystery but chose, for reasons unknown, to keep that information secret. The timing of the case, during the early Cold War, and the mysterious nature of the evidence led many to theorize that the Somerton Man was involved in espionage. Several factors supported this hypothesis. His muscular physique suggested military or specialized physical training. His clothing, while appropriate for the era, contained subtle details that were unusual for post-war Australia. Certain anatomical features noted during the autopsy were identified as rare genetic traits more common in Eastern Europe than Australia. The geopolitical landscape of 1948 provides crucial context for understanding this theory. The Berlin blockade had just begun, marking the first major international crisis of the Cold War. Australia was deeply involved in Western intelligence efforts against perceived communist threats, and Adelaide's strategic importance cannot be overstated. The area around Adelaide at that time housed significant military research facilities, including the Woomera rocket range and various British nuclear test sites. These installations would have been prime targets for intelligence gathering by foreign powers. If the Somerton Man was indeed a spy, his death occurred at a pivotal moment in global intelligence operations. Was he a Soviet agent who had completed his mission, as suggested by the Tamám Shud note? Was he a Western operative who had discovered something that cost him his life? The methodical removal of identifying features from his clothing and possessions aligns with espionage tradecraft, as does the encrypted message found in the book. The involvement of Jessica Thomson, with her own intelligence background, further strengthens this theory. The sequence of letters found in the back of the Rubaiyat, WRGOABDMLIBOAQCITTMTSAMSTGAB, has become one of the most analyzed codes in cryptographic history. Despite decades of attempts by military intelligence experts, academic cryptographers, and amateur sleuths, this sequence has never been definitively deciphered. Handwriting experts who examined the code noted peculiarities suggesting the writer might have been foreign-born or educated outside of standard English-speaking systems. Some letters appeared to be written in a continental European style, adding weight to theories about the man's possible foreign origins. Multiple approaches have been attempted to break the code. Some researchers treated it as an anagram, others as a substitution cipher. Some believed it might represent coordinates or references to specific texts. Computer analysis has been applied using modern algorithms designed to detect patterns in seemingly random sequences. None of these approaches has yielded convincing results. The code's resistance to decryption suggests several possibilities. It may be a highly sophisticated encryption method beyond the capabilities of conventional analysis. It could be a personal notation system meaningful only to the writer and intended recipient. Some have even suggested it might be a meaningless sequence designed to mislead investigators. A red herring. Or perhaps most intriguingly, it could be a one-time pad cipher, which would be theoretically unbreakable without the corresponding key. Whatever the truth, this sequence of letters remains one of the most enduring elements of the case, continuing to challenge cryptographers and capture the imagination of those fascinated by unsolved codes. Beyond the cryptic code and mysterious connections, the physical evidence itself presented numerous puzzles. The man's clothing was of good quality but contained unusual features. His shoes were American in style but had been resoled in a manner consistent with European craftsmanship. His tie showed a knot technique rarely used in Australia at that time. These details suggested someone who had either traveled extensively or had been trained in specific traditions outside of Australia. The autopsy findings were equally perplexing. While the cause of death remained officially undetermined, several unusual characteristics were noted. His spleen was enlarged to 3 times normal size, and his liver showed signs of acute congestion. Both are consistent with certain types of poisoning, yet no poison was definitively identified in toxicology tests. Some pathologists suggested the symptoms aligned with poisoning by digitalis or Rubaiyat, both of which were difficult to detect with 1940s technology. The man's physical condition also provided clues. He was remarkably fit for his age, with well-developed leg muscles suggesting he might have been a dancer or athlete. His hands showed no signs of manual labor. His teeth contained unusual dental work not consistent with Australian dental practices at the time. Several theories emerged to explain these physical clues. Some suggested he was a ballet dancer who had defected from a touring Soviet company. Others proposed he was a sailor who had jumped ship in Australia. The espionage theory remained strong, with his physical condition consistent with the training given to intelligence operatives. Perhaps most bizarre was the theory that he was involved in black market activities related to post-war rationing, which might explain both his unusual clothing and the potential poisoning. In recent years, the case has seen remarkable new developments thanks to advances in forensic science. In 2009, an examination of photographs of the man's ear revealed a rare condition called hypodontia of the lateral incisors, which affects only 2% of the population. This distinctive genetic trait offered a new avenue for potential identification. In 2013, analysis of preserved hair samples showed unusual levels of lead, arsenic, and other metals, potentially supporting the poison theory that had been proposed decades earlier. The presence of these elements suggested either environmental exposure or deliberate poisoning. The most significant breakthrough came in 2021, when researchers announced they had successfully extracted DNA from hair samples preserved from the original investigation. This genetic material has provided entirely new avenues for identification, including potential familial connections to descendants in Australia. The advancement of genetic genealogy has transformed cold case investigations worldwide, and the Somerton Man case represents one of the oldest mysteries to benefit from these technologies. Researchers have used autosomal DNA analysis to compare the man's genetic profile against large databases, searching for distant relatives who might provide clues to his identity. The DNA findings have allowed for a more precise determination of his ancestry and physical characteristics, helping to narrow down theories about his origins. Modern forensic techniques have also been applied to the clothing and personal effects preserved from the case, revealing trace evidence that was undetectable with 1940s technology. These scientific advances represent the best hope for finally resolving the mystery that has persisted for over 7 decades. Perhaps the most fascinating recent development in the case came from Professor Derek Abbott of the University of Adelaide. After years of research, Abbott proposed a theory that would transform our understanding of the mystery. The Somerton Man might have fathered a child with Jessica Thomson. Abbott noted striking physical similarities between the Somerton Man and Thomson's son, including the same rare ear shape and dental characteristics that had been documented in the original autopsy. These shared physical traits were so distinctive that they suggested a genetic relationship rather than coincidence. If proven through DNA analysis, this connection would fundamentally alter our perception of the case. What was once viewed as an isolated mystery, a man who died alone and unidentified, would become a deeply personal human story with living descendants. It would also provide a compelling explanation for Thomson's strange behavior when questioned about the man. Her reluctance to identify him, despite appearing to recognize him, might have been motivated by a desire to protect a secret relationship in her child. This theory gained additional support when researchers discovered that Thomson's son was born in 1947, just a year before the Somerton Man's death. The timing aligns with a possible relationship between them. If the Somerton Man was indeed the father of Thomson's child, it raises profound questions about their relationship. Was it a love affair that ended tragically? Was it connected to their possible shared intelligence work? Did Thomson know about his death but choose to remain silent to protect herself and her child? DNA testing of descendants could potentially confirm or refute this theory, providing a resolution to at least one aspect of this multifaceted mystery. While the case remains officially unsolved, recent developments may finally answer questions that have persisted for over 70 years. Who was the Somerton Man? Why was he on that beach? What did the code mean? And was his death connected to international espionage, a love affair gone wrong? or something else entirely? The Somerton Man case continues to captivate because it combines elements that speak to fundamental human curiosities. There is the mystery of identity. How can a person die completely unknown in a civilized society? There is the allure of secret codes that have resisted decryption by the world's best analysts. There is the shadow world of espionage, with its suggestions of hidden purposes and covert operations. And perhaps most poignantly, there is the human element, a man who died alone, carrying secrets to his grave. What makes this case particularly unique is that time has not diminished interest but enhanced it. As new technologies offer fresh perspectives on old evidence, each generation discovers the mystery anew and brings contemporary tools to bear on its solution. The case has inspired countless books, documentaries, podcasts, and academic papers. It has become a cultural touchstone in Australia and a classic study in forensic investigation worldwide. Perhaps most compelling is the possibility that after decades of speculation, the Somerton Man may finally receive his name back. If modern DNA analysis succeeds where traditional investigation failed, it would represent not just the resolution of Australia's most famous mystery, but a profound act of restoration, returning identity to someone who has been, for over 7 decades, defined primarily by his anonymity. The Somerton Man case stands as one of the 20th century's most enduring mysteries, a perfect storm of Cold War intrigue, cryptic clues, and human drama. From the meticulously dressed body found on an Australian beach to the Persian phrase, Tamám Shud, from unbreakable codes to possible espionage connections, every element of this case has defied simple explanation for over 7 decades. What makes this mystery particularly compelling is how it continues to evolve. Modern forensic techniques, particularly DNA analysis, now offer the tantalizing possibility of finally identifying the man who has remained nameless since 1948. The potential connection to Jessica Thomson and her son suggests a deeply personal dimension to what was long considered an isolated enigma. As science advances, we may soon witness the resolution of Australia's most baffling cold case. Yet even if the Somerton Man's identity is eventually confirmed, questions will likely remain about the circumstances of his death and the meaning of the cryptic code. Perhaps this is why the case continues to fascinate us. It reminds us that even in our modern world of surveillance and digital footprints, it remains possible for profound mysteries to endure, challenging our understanding of identity, connection, and the secrets we carry to our graves. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates. Your feedback is appreciated. We hope to see you again.